Hey, I know it's tough, but believe me, God is working in your life right now. All this pain is not in vain. He is using each challenge to strengthen you from the inside out. It's not punishment, it's preparation. What seems heavy today will be exactly what will lift you up in the future. Trust, don't give up, you are not alone. The change is happening. Do you feel it? I know that sometimes it feels like no one understands what you're going through. When the pain increases and silence becomes your only companion, it feels like everything has lost meaning. But I need to remind you of something important. You have not been forgotten. This pain you carry is not a weight without reason. God is working, even when everything seems dark. You think you're at the end, but you're actually in the middle of the process. Don't be mistaken, transformation processes are not pretty. They are uncomfortable, lonely, and often painful. But do you know what's most amazing? The pain is exactly what is preparing you for something greater. It is at this moment, when you feel like you have no more strength, that your soul begins to rise again. Have you noticed how, despite everything that happened, you are still here? That's not a coincidence, that's God sustaining you. Stop and think, how many times did you think you couldn't endure? That day, that moment, would be your limit. But look, you made it through. Maybe with scars, maybe with tears, but you made it through. And that is living proof that there is something inside you stronger than the pain. No, this is not empty optimism. It's the truth. God does not waste suffering. He doesn't let a single tear of yours fall without a purpose. What you are feeling today is the beginning of a different path, and with each step you take, He is shaping a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more ready to live the fullness of what He has reserved for you. Now I ask you, what are you going to do with this? Will you succumb to despair, or will you face this pain as the beginning of a new phase? You don't need to have all the answers today, but you need to believe that there is something beyond this moment. God does not abandon. He transforms. Yes, I know it's hard to trust when everything seems to be falling apart around you. But remember, when you were at the bottom before, God lifted you. And if He did it once, He will do it again and again, as many times as necessary. No matter how many times you feel broken, God has the ability to gather every piece and form something new, something even stronger than before. Do not confuse silence with abandonment. God's silence is not absence. Sometimes He remains silent because He is preparing something you cannot yet understand. He is not inactive, He is strengthening you. He knows the right time to act, and while you think He does not hear you, He is organizing things so that you will live what you asked for, and even more. If you are waiting for an answer and it has not come yet, it may be because He does not want to give you just any answer. He wants to give you the best. But for that, you need to go through the process. You need to learn what only pain teaches: patience, resilience, faith. Stop comparing yourself. If I can give you one piece of advice right now, it is this. Stop looking at other people's lives as if they have no battles. There is no perfect life, no matter how it appears. Everyone has pains that are not shown. But your struggle is unique, and what God is building in you is something that cannot be compared to what He does in someone else's life. Your story is special. Your pain is the foundation of a testimony that you will share with others one day. Have you stopped to think about how many lives can be touched by what you are experiencing now? Because yes, one day you will tell how you overcame it, and someone who is at rock bottom will hear this and believe that they can also overcome. God is using your pain to prepare you for something greater. Maybe you are in a phase where you have lost important things, people, opportunities, dreams. I know how much that hurts, but the truth is that some losses are disguised deliverances. Sometimes what you so desired wasn't meant for you, or it wasn't the right time. And when God takes something away from you, it's because He is preparing something that fits exactly the size of your faith. Don't give up. If you stop now, you will never know how far you could have gone. This is the trap of pain. It tries to convince you that it's not worth continuing. But God calls you to continue because He sees what you can't see yet. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be fast. It just needs to be constant. Get up a little each day, fight a little each day, and when you realize that pain that seemed unbearable will have transformed into the foundation of your greatest strength. You are not alone. In moments of silence and solitude, remember, God is by your side. Even when you don't feel it, He is present. He did not promise that you would not go through the fire, but he promised that the fire would not consume you. He did not promise that you would not face storms, but he promised that you would not drown. You don't need to carry it all alone. Give this pain into his hands. Trust, even if your eyes only see darkness. God sees the whole picture while you see only a part. Believe in the purpose. When you get through this, and you will understand the reason for each tear. Everything is going to fall into place. The pain is not your identity. It is just a chapter, not the entire book. Your story doesn't end here. What God has reserved for you is much greater than this pain. All he needs is for you to keep moving, one step at a time, not because you are strong all the time, but because he strengthens you when you think you can't take it anymore. So get up, even if it's slowly. Take a deep breath. Wipe away the tears. God is with you. The impossible may seem far away, but he specializes in making the impossible real. And now I ask again, are you ready to trust that this pain is the beginning of your transformation? It's time to get up, even without all the answers. Do you know that feeling of being on the ground without strength or will? I know it's not easy, but if there's one thing you need to understand today, it's that staying down is not an option for you. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen so far. What matters is that God is still calling you to get up. He hasn't given up on you. And that means you also can't give up on yourself. You don't need to be perfect to start over. You don't need to have everything resolved. Start with what you have, with what you feel, even if it's almost nothing. God doesn't need much to do something extraordinary. Sometimes he just needs you to take a small step. It could be a short prayer, a sincere request for help, or even that deep breath that only he understands. Your mistakes do not define you. Maybe you're blaming yourself. Maybe you feel that the pain you carry today is a consequence of your wrong choices. And it may be that you have made mistakes, but I'll tell you a truth. Your mistakes do not cancel out God's love for you. He doesn't see you as a sum of failures, but as someone in the process of transformation. You are not defined by your past, nor by the moments when you stumbled. God does not work with condemnation. He works with restoration, and each failure, each sincere repentance is an invitation to start stronger. Do not let guilt imprison you. It doesn't have that power unless you give it that power. Strength comes in the process. You will not wake up tomorrow completely restored. That's not how it works, and you know it. The pain decreases as you learn to walk with faith, even when everything still hurts. Strength doesn't come all at once. It is built in the small daily decisions to keep moving forward. It's when you decide to get out of bed, even without the desire. It's when you say a short prayer, even without beautiful words. It's when you take a step, even while feeling afraid. Each movement towards the life that God has planned for you is a brick in the construction of the strength he is forming in you. Pain can harden the heart, but you must not allow it. I know that over time, pain can make you cold. It can make you isolate yourself, distrust everything and everyone, and shut yourself off from life. This is a real risk. But listen, your heart is too precious to be destroyed by pain. God wants to heal not just your situation, but also your emotions, feelings, and traumas. Open yourself to this healing. Even if you think you can't trust, allow yourself to feel again, to believe again. God did not create you to live disconnected, in fear of the next blow. He wants to bring you peace, but for that, you need to open the door. Healing does not enter where doors are locked. You are not forgotten. Pain makes you believe that you are alone, that God has forgotten you. But do not trust these thoughts. They are liars. God is not like the world, which abandons you when you are no longer at your best. He is the God who remains, the God who stays when everyone else leaves. He sees what no one else sees. He knows that silent prayer you made amid the tears, that request no one heard. He knows the weight you carry and the daily struggle you face. And he is present, even in the silence. Your story is still being written. Have you ever felt like ending it all and turning the page by force? Like giving up because you think there's nothing good left waiting for you? The truth is that you are in one of the hardest parts of your story. But it's not the end. The ending will be written by God, and he writes better endings than anyone could ever imagine. Don't rush. Don't give up on your story before seeing how it ends. If you do, you'll miss the most incredible moment, the turning point. And it's coming. The desert doesn't last forever. If you feel like you're in a desert, know that it has an end. No desert lasts forever. But the desert is not only a place of suffering, it's a place of preparation. It's there that God works on your character, your heart, your priorities. Yes, the desert is lonely. It's there that you learn to depend more on God and less on your own strength. It's there that He proves He is enough to sustain you. And when the desert ends, you don't come out the same. You come out stronger, wiser, and more prepared to live what He promised. God does not make empty promises. If there is something you need to imprint in your heart, it's that God does not lie. He doesn't promise something and then forget. If He placed a dream in you, if He made you feel that something big was coming, then trust. No matter how long it takes, He fulfills it. Sometimes it seems like the promise is taking so long that you start to doubt. But God doesn't work on our time. He knows what He is doing, and when the promise is fulfilled, you understand that it was worth the wait. You need to fight against the thoughts that want to destroy you. The biggest battle you face isn't outside, it's inside your mind. It's those thoughts that tell you that you can't make it, that it's not worth it, that no one cares. You need to resist them with all your strength. When these thoughts come, declare the truth. I am strong. I am loved by God. I will win. Don't wait to feel it to say it. Declare it even if you still doubt, because the truth doesn't depend on how you feel right now. Allow yourself to be uplifted. You don't have to face this alone. God didn't call you to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. He called you to give up your pain and trust. It is He who lifts the weary, who renews the strength of those who have fallen. Allow Him to help you. Allow yourself to be loved by Him. It is not weakness to admit you need help. On the contrary, it is an act of faith. Saying, I can't do it alone, is making space for God to come in and do what you cannot do for yourself. This pain will pass. As difficult as it is to believe right now, this phase has an end. One day, you will look back and realize how much you've grown. And you know what else? You will feel proud of who you have become. What today seems like a weakness will turn into your greatest strength. But to get there, you need to keep going. You need to take a deep breath, get up, and take one more step. One at a time. And when you least expect it, you'll realize you've already crossed the worst. God is transforming your pain into strength. You have come this far, and that already says a lot about you. Even when life crushed you, you didn't give up. And I know it's not easy. But remember, God hasn't finished His work. He is shaping your story, turning your scars into strength and purpose. The pain that today seems unbearable will be the living proof that you survived what many could not. You don't need to have all the answers today. You just need to take the next step, take a deep breath, get up. Even with fear, even with doubts, keep going. God didn't bring you this far to leave you halfway. Now I want to invite you to reflect. What did this message awaken in you? How do you deal with your pains? Leave a comment, I want to know your story. And if this content spoke to you, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Together, we can be a chain of faith and strength. Your journey matters. You matter. And remember, God is with you, always.